Hi, this is Tim at Volgistics with your tip of the week for December 13, 2021. Many organizations like to print out year-end or quarterly reports that show how volunteer service numbers have changed from one year to the next. However, a lot of organizations consider 2020 to be too much of an anomaly, and they prefer to compare 2021 to 2019 instead. So Volgistics does have a built-in function for reporting where we'll compare service information to the previous year, but we don't have a way to compare service information to 2 years ago. We can do this still. It requires a little bit of advanced work in Excel, but I'm going to break it down for you as much as I can so that we can kind of work through this together. So to get this information, we're going to start by printing a service summary report in Excel format. Then we'll use the features in Excel to get the comparisons that we want. So we're going to create a custom report as an example. To get started, back here in Volgistics, we're going to go to the print page, and then we'll expand service summary, and we're going to create a new service summary report. Now here you can choose how you want it organized. I'm going to leave it at the default, site, place, and assignment. You can choose how you want it summarized. For me, I want calendar year. If you want fiscal year or quarter, you can do that as well. That's up to you. You can also choose whether you want to list volunteers. In my case, I don't need volunteers. I just want summary numbers for each assignment. Now we're going to go to the Fields tab, and this is where you can choose the numbers that you actually want to report on. In my case, I just want hours, but I'm also going to include the prior year comparisons. If you wanted to include any other of your service measures, you can do that as well. Next, let's go over to the Include tab. And here I want to choose Excel format. For the time frame on the report, I want to make sure that my range includes 2019. So I'm just going to say start with 2019 and end with 2021. The other options, I want to keep these as broad as possible because I want all of the relevant information to be included here. Now we'll go to the Save tab. You can give this custom report a name, and then we'll click Save and Print and start printing. So just as always, this will create an Excel file and put a link to it here in the mailbox. Okay, we can see my report is done here, so I'll open it up. Okay, so on this report, we can see that I get hours for each year that I chose to include. For each of those, I also see the previous year next to it, and I see the percent change from one year to the next. So this is all good information to have here. What I need to do next is actually remove some information. In this case, this 2020 hours, the change, and then the next 2020 hours. I want to get rid of both of these. So I will highlight these columns, right-click on the selected area, and then hit Delete. Okay, so now I see 2019 hours, 2021 hours, and the percent change, which is actually not accurate because it's still looking at 2020. So I'm going to highlight this column and press Delete on the keyboard. So this will clear the contents of the column without actually removing the column itself. So the next thing we need to do here is put in a new heading for this column. I'm going to stick with the default here and just say Change. Now, the next thing you'll notice here is that these cells are actually not formatted as numbers, even though they have numbers here. And for the formula to work correctly, we need to make sure that these cells are actually formatted correctly. So what I'll do is scroll down a little bit so that a cell with the error is at the very top. And then we'll select these two columns and look for this little error indicator here. Click that and then say Convert to Number. So this will convert all of those cells to numbers. So now our formula will work correctly. So now in cell I2 here, just below our new change heading, we'll want to put in the formula that we created. And you'll see that in the blog post if you just want to copy and paste, or you can type it in here. I've already got it, so I'll just copy and paste. And so now we can see the value. So there's the percent change from 2019 to 2021. And we'll apply formatting here in just a minute, but before we do that, we want to make sure we're applying that formula to this whole column. So you'll want to select this cell, I2, and then scroll down to the bottom of the report. Hold down the Shift key here and click the last cell in the range, and that will highlight this entire column. And then we want to fill down. So you can do that up in the menu here, or you can push Control D on the keyboard. and that will fill down those values all the way down to the bottom. So now let's work on the formatting. So I'm going to, again, highlight column I here, and then I can click this % button right here, and that will change it to a percentage. So it's really easy to see how my volunteer service changed from 2019 compared to 2021. Okay, so now that we know how to add this formula into Excel, just as a little bonus here, I want to kind of explain how this function actually works. So looking up in the formula bar here, this part right here is how you calculate % change from one value to another. So we take the new value minus the original value, and then we divide that by the original value, and that gives you a % change. But if we have just that part of the formula, and I'll try that here, here it works just fine, but if we fill down with that, we start seeing all these errors. So we have this error. If it's zeros, we'll see a divide by zero error. If the cell is blank, we'll see this value error because you have no value in either place. So this formula gives us errors, and we don't want those errors. It clutters up the report. So we can deal with these errors one at a time here using if statements. So we'll say if G2 is not blank, then we will use this formula. And if it is blank, we'll leave this cell blank. So then we'll close out our if function. And again, we can fill down with that. So you can see those errors start to disappear. We still have this divide by zero error because these cells aren't actually blank. They have values there, but we're still dividing by zero, which obviously is a problem when you're doing math. So we want to add in another criteria here to the beginning of the if statement, and we do that using the AND function. So and then we'll put in a couple logical tests. So G2 is not blank and G2 is greater than 0. Then we'll close off the AND function. So now it will evaluate both of those, and if G2 is not blank and G2 is greater than 0, then it will do the function here, the calculation. If either of those is false, then the cell will just be blank. So now I can take that and fill down, and you'll notice the divide by zero errors also disappear. So that's how we came up with that function. I hope this is helpful for you as you report on those numbers. If you have any questions about how this works, please let us know. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.